everyone. Welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel. And it is Saturday, which means it is Star Trek Day. And we are joined once again by the One Ton Hammer,
Hello.
Irate Prostate,
Hello,
Dr. Functional,
Ni hao.
and Skeptalk.
everybody.
And today, we are going to be talking...
See a Pincalo in the background.
And there's a Pincalo in the
Hey,
background.
Pincalo.
Hello.
Fart in your general direction. Careful, I might give you cold.
Hey, pink hollow.
And today we're going to be talking about basically stuff that we would have wanted to see more of from, just from the series that we all talk about, the 5 series. Just, it could be, a plot point that was touched on that you wish would have been expanded, or, an alien race that we got introduced to that you wish we would have had more dealings with.
We need more species 8472.
No,
Agreed.
they got all crappy in that second episode. They were
More
all...
of Jerry Ryan in a dress.
Vivians.
And so it's just stuff that we wish we could have had more of. I'm going to start mine off with, I really, 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 really wish we had never met the Kazon and that the Vidians had just been,
Oh my God.
had just been the villains for the first 3
From the
seasons.
get-go, yeah.
I would have loved them having to, because the Vidians, first of all, were a lot more technologically advanced.
Terrifying.
They were fucking terrifying. Like, I would have loved to have Voyager do way more dealings and have to escape the Vidians like more often, which would have made.
They just beamed your lungs out of your body, sir. What do you want me to do?
Exactly, and then it would have made the
great
kind
villains.
of it would have made it more poignant when they've managed, when they cured Janeway and Chakotay, because they worked with it would have been more poignant for Doc to save Dinara Pell. Like it would have been better off, like, story wise.
Much more impact, yeah.
Yeah, if we had the Vidians as a threat throughout, instead of the damn Cabbage Patch Kids that
Who are nothing more than like space nomads.
they were
Cabbage heads?
they were space they were basically space chauvinists, you know what I mean? It's like the amount of times I heard Cullen be like, what is with you women from the Alpha Quadrant? You never know. Like, it was just like,
I expected one of their weapons to be like an Afro pig.
an Afro pick, yeah.
The Vidians were easier to look at. That's for
No
sure. They had a better appearance, and also anybody who has a device that's a combination of, a medical scanner, a scalpel, and a weapon.
Yeah.
That's badass.
Yeah.
I agree.
Tricorder on roids.
Very much so.
What kind of race has solid hair?
Mm.
I mean, there's no strings. They were solid.
The United States back in the 50s, if you look at the men, they had solid hair.
That's
They used to
Brill cream
and Vitalis. Yeah.
quite-
Little dabadoo.
Yep.
Yep, morphine, a little jab will do ya.
But that was hair that you put stuff into to make it solid. These people had solid hair. There was no product put in that was just, I don't understand. It was just
stronger
plastic.
keratin or something.
Yeah, but it was, all it was a
Rotted
plastic
foliage. too.
piece.
I mean, if it was going to be realistic, it would look like more like layers of fingernail, right?
Mm.
Sure, yeah.
And that would look
disgusting.
really weird. Yeah, it would gross as shit.
And I think because my first one would sort of tie into this, yes, the Vidians were very technologically advanced, so they would have a very large swath of their part of the galaxy to sort of operate in, but eventually Voyager's going to leave that. I would have liked to have seen more with the Hirogen, because I thought that they were the next big bad in that series that
I agree.
sort of were a very, very dire threat outside of the obvious 8472 Borg conflict. to sort of
Yeah.
top everything off.
I was just going to bring that up. Yep.
I
Oh.
think
We're on par again.
I think that we could have actually expanded on the Hirogen story. There could have been other Hirogen that felt offended that Janeway was able to make a deal with the 1 Alpha.
Mhm.
And give them like there could have been a branch of the Hirogen that was like, you know, how dare you make a deal with this prey for their technology. Like that could have been a very interesting story arc.
And I think it's a good cleanser as far as like the big bad, that they're very advanced as well, but it's very specified to combat, to fighting,
Yes.
to hunting. Whereas the Vidians were just on so many levels, they were viscerally scary psychologically. Like you said, they could beam your lungs right out of your chest. Like that's scary.
Badass.
That's
Scary.
Yeah.
And something that's just a little bit more straightforward in that, they're big, they're stronger than you, they have better weapons, better ships. Something a little bit more, straightforward in the Trek world would have been a good palate cleanser for that.
I agree, because we did go from, the alien race that could beam organs out of you to the race that was from a different galaxy that could inject itself into you. Like 8472 was pretty terrifying at first too.
I was
Like,
just going to bring that up. Fluidic space and all that stuff, man.
I would have liked to learn more about fluidic space.
That's what I wanted to know more about,
definitely. But I think that them and the Borg represent a threat that is so far beyond the capabilities of, basically the lone Voyager vessel, that it was more of a they went back to the roots of the diplomatic psychological warfare that the Federation were really good at.
Yeah.
Hey, Scott.
Making peace.
Yes.
This is the show with the lady captain, right?
Yeah, I think this has the lady captain. I believe.
Oh boy.
Her name is Jane. Her name is Jane Way.
We already have
Jane the lady.
Something that's
No
very
way.
unique about this show. We have our own little
Or tagline.
that's our tagline. It's
Yeah.
the show with the lady captain.
I had to do Lady Captain because Totally Possible, Barely an Inconvenience was already taken. So
Oh,
we'll see who knows about that channel.
the Vidians were only this far removed from the Borg as far as a threat.
Mm.
They were number 2, I think. Really.
I would agree.
Yeah,
with
but
that.
they had something that they could reason with. There were different personalities. It wasn't the hive mind.
Yeah.
It wasn't a singular. They what was it, the Dr. Pella?
Yeah, they weren't worse than the Borg, but they were the next step down.
Oh yeah, technologically and threat wise, for sure.
Especially like with the shifting like the caves that they could basically move, like the rock, they could move the rock around.
It was almost like a super advanced, both like holodeck style transport system.
Yeah.
That could move matter individually, not just as we see it through the Federation's eyes.
Right.
Yeah, that was really cool technology. I wish we could have learned kind of how the Vidians' tech worked, because you got this. I got the sense that they were like truly a race that once probably was incredibly powerful. Before the phage happened, and now they're just stuck using their incredible tech to be subversive and survive to stay alive, which is kind of sad, because if you look at the things that they have, that's a pretty incredible civilization. And I bet that in its heyday, it was probably amazing to look or to behold.
Mm-hmm. They're basically fighting for survival at this point, and their only recourse so far, even with all of their advanced technology, has been to prey on other races.
Mm-hmm.
I think with all that advanced technology and such a powerful race, even with the phage, they would have been around a lot longer.
Yeah.
they would have had more space for Voyager to cover, unless they just didn't have that many ships because people were dying so much.
Maybe.
True.
You know, I have an advantage, I guess, in a way about having started watching Star Trek in like 1967. You know, there are some things that came from Star Trek, and this is talking about tech, but I'm actually talking about tech that has become real.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And there's a lot of Star Trek tech that has become real. You know, one of the more interesting ones is their concept of warp drive. And now that, I don't know if that was the impetus, but scientists are now talking about creating a field in front of a potentially a spacecraft that does something really unusual with matter. It makes a space of negative density, it's called. And
Be the Alcubierre drive, I think you're talking
yeah,
about.
Alcubierre drive is actually what I'm talking about. And you know, basically allows you to beat the speed of light speed limit by shifting forward into that different density space, and in doing so to bend space to your designs.
That's cool.
Additionally, stuff like tractor beams in Star Trek, you know, I mean, that's if you want to know one of the most important technologies in all of Star Trek, I think the tractor beam and being able to beam people from place to place.
Yeah.
Without those two things, you don't have a Star Trek. Star Trek cannot operate. You know, without really painting a cartoon picture of what the universe is. And what I loved about Star Trek, and this is true, they stayed pretty faithful to this throughout all their gadgets, all their inventions, all their technologies, was they recognized the realities of physics. And they said, okay, what's a cool thing we could do to get around this? How can we go faster than light? How can we control things in space? We want space to still be threatening to humans, so we can't make them invulnerable to, the vacuum of space, and cosmic rays are threatening, and all this other stuff. And they just did a wonderful job of taking all those things into consideration. We've got high energy weapons now, energy beams that are knocking high-flying missile-like drones out of the sky. Tablet computers, that's an obvious one.
Yep.
But hypospray, didn't think about that, did you? But they have that, and you can actually get inoculations with a device that is basically a high-speed injection of stuff that does not break your skin with a needle. That actually exists. Universal translators. You know, what do you think Google Translate is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, tricorders. I mean, you know, I go to the doctor and they spend more time on the computer and with various computerized components they use to try and figure out what's wrong with me than they do talking to me.
Yep.
You know, telepresence. You know, remember that was an amazing thing back in 1967 was that Kirk could put somebody on screen and talk to them. You have you guys will never know how that felt. I saw that and I said, I remember the first time I saw Star Trek is actually in the middle of one of the episodes, and I was coming into the room and they were talking, you know, there's some crew dialogue, and then Kirk says, "Put him on screen." You know, some enemy that they're gonna shout threats at before they start fighting, which I always loved about TOS.
Yes.
And they, I was absolutely transported. I was thinking, you know, someday maybe I'll get to live to see that. Replicators, another thing. You know, we are starting to do things with 3D printing that absolutely are mind-blowing. If you don't believe me, just go on this new internet thing and check out
The
stuff.
internet on computers now, Skep.
Yeah,
Titanium printing.
that's awesome. That's amazing. Not only that, on telephones without cords, and that's my big one is
Yeah.
communicators. Obviously, communicators. The flip phones even look like the old TOS
Yeah.
communicators.
Yeah.
Just it just makes me happy to have gotten to see that in my lifetime.
Eluin says that in chat that she would have liked to learn more about the history between Vulcans and Romulans. I think that would have been cool.
That's a good point. I like that too. The anthropologists like that sort of thing.
Because what we were given was delicious.
Yeah, if we could have learned
I hear you, Alan.
how they had lived before they split off, what happened during the split, like that would have been really cool to look at.
A lot of that was covered in the animated series. There was 2 episodes in the animated series that talk about what the Vulcans were like. Spock actually uses the
Wait,
Guardian
what? There was an
Forever to travel
animated
back.
series?
Yeah, the animated series. It's on
Dude, and the
Netflix.
stories are good, Skep.
They are great.
I need to check that
I
out.
haven't seen it. Yeah.
I'm
It's
sorry. Go ahead,
awesome.
Hammer. I interrupted you. I didn't mean to.
No worries. But yeah, there's 2 episodes. One of them includes the Guardian of Forever. Spock travels back in time, and you get to see what Vulcan was back in the day. That's where you learn about his Salat and what it looked like.
That one, is that the... So there's one that I remember in the animated series where Spock went back in time to save himself as a child.
Right.
That one I remember. Which was a really good episode. I Chaya the Salat.
Was that all our yesterdays, or am I thinking about a TNG episode?
Think that might be what it's called. Because yesterday's Enterprise is a TNG episode.
Yeah, I think the other one was called The Magics of Megas 2, was the other one, where they meet the devil.
Okay.
And it was mentioned, something was mentioned in there, if I remember correctly, about what Vulcan was early. But those were the 2 episodes.
I'll have to check that out.
Another cool thing about technology in Star Trek is the great job they did naming the stuff.
Yes.
Using stuff, biomolecular warheads. What?
Tri-cobalt device.
Yes, exactly. Fluidic space.
Whatever happened to the dual cobalt device?
Quadritriticale.
Quadritriticale.
Right.
Nanoprobes.
Nanoprobes.
Oh yeah. They were just on point with the names of these things.
That
They're just
jargon.
so wonderful.
Fantastic.
That was mostly the Akutas that did a lot of that naming.
Yeah.
What was his name? Michael
Akuda.
and his wife. The 2 of them worked together as a tag team to create all that stuff, including all the TNG panels. All that kind of stuff was done by them.
Awesome.
They did that what was like a 2-inch thick book about all the tech for Star Trek technical manual. They created that.
Yeah.
Oh, I
That is-
fucking had that back in
That's
the day.
amazing.
And I
The
never
maroon
read it.
cover. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had the blueprints of the Enterprise too.
I have
Nerd.
all the blueprints and diagrams.
At home.
I know.
I have them at home.
I have the Mark of Cain. That's right. I am a Trek freak.
Oh, see that was a plot. Speaking of more that you would have wanted, I really wish I could have gotten a bit more of Worf and his parents together. I liked that.
What about the Russians that raised him?
Well, that's what I mean. Like
Yeah,
Worf
yeah.
and
Okay,
and
those- that parent,
Worf
those
and
parents.
his adopted parents, the
Yeah.
Roshenkos. Because, like, who better to raise a Klingon child than
Russian parents.
Russian.
Yeah. That's
Like,
perfect. You must have to have that. No one else is going to be able to handle it.
Go
Maybe
outside,
if
play
I-
with a bear 2 hours, come back.
go outside, play with bear. You come back when you're tired. Mother, father, I have brought you dinner.
The bear fought valiantly, but in
The
the
bear,
end,
yeah.
I was
Yes.
He died with honor.
He died, yes.
He died well.
He died well. Yeah, exactly. But I really would have liked to at least get a couple more You know,
They were in what, 3 episodes? Were they in?
Well,
She was in 3. He was in 2.
she was in. He was only in 1 episode, and
Okay.
she had an appearance in second episode where she brings Alexander back.
Back home.
Right, yeah.
But other than that, there's not much of that. Like, my favorite scene of them is where they're talking to Guinan.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
How come you
Jen-
never gave him prune juice when he was young?
Everything had to be Klingon.
It's a warrior's drink.
And then, of course, we got that one episode with his brother who kind of fell flat for me.
I like Kern, man.
No, the
episode itself, though.
The
Maybe.
one where
Oh,
are
no,
you
no, his
talking
human
about
brother.
his human brother Nikolai
Nikolai,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, that one.
The people they had to like
trick into
thinking they were being just escaping a storm, but they were being transported to another planet
yeah,
because the planet was blowing up,
and then Nikolai like fell in love with one of them and got her pregnant and married her.
The actor is a good actor, but he usually plays a heavy. He usually doesn't play that kind of part.
Yeah.
And I think he was a little extra. You know, I think when he yelled at Worf about something, he was a little too exaggerated because he seemed like a pretty straightforward shooter.
Mm-hmm.
But when he didn't like something, he just went off the fucking planet. When he just, dude, relax.
that was kind of his character, though, right? Because
I
Worf
guess.
even said, I wasn't the one who caused our mother to stay up crying at night, wondering where you were, right? Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't. Like, Nikolai seemed like he was kind of a loose cannon.
The difference between reckless and unstable.
Yeah.
Somebody who doesn't care about what other people think of, that's just, reckless. But he seemed to me like he was like not mentally competent. Like he was like,
you're right. He did seem almost like he had kind of a god complex, especially when it came to the people that he was
kind of a psychopath.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I would just chalk that up to the failure of the writing, not the actors.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
But he's a really good actor, journeyman actor. I don't know what his name is, but he usually plays like a mob boss and that kind of stuff. You know?
Okay. I don't know. I don't recognize his voice from anywhere else, so I don't think I've seen him in any other roles besides that one, the Nikolai role.
Yeah. Go ahead and talk. I'll look him up on the Googleness.
Logan.
It was played by Paul Sorvino. That's who I thought it was.
Paul
and
Sorvino.
yeah, Paul Sorvino has been in so many mob movies.
Yes,
he's in Goodfellas and all that stuff.
His daughter is what's her face?
Sorvino.
Oh my God, she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Who was Paul Sorvino in Goodfellas?
Paul Sorvino.
If I know, who
I will.
He was the Don that shaved the garlic in prison.
He was the mentor to Henry Hill.
Henry Hill. Okay. Yeah. Now I recognize. Okay.
Interesting thing about Sorvino, he's like an internationally renowned sculptor.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, he really is. He really is. It's just his hobby. And he cannot make enough pieces for the people who want to buy it. I'm a Paul Sorvino nut.
Is this shit that good?
I love this guy.
Is this art that good?
No, not really. Not really. And that didn't do anything for me. I've seen some of the pieces, and I just go, that's because he's Paul Sorvino.
Yeah.
But he is praised highly in the art community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Hunter Biden immediately comes to mind. But exactly. But getting back to the Star Trek, the Star Trek stuff. I will watch any show that can be characterized by the following short paragraph. In 2373, the Borg used a series of quantum singularities as interdimensional rifts in order to gain access to fluidic space. Their plan backfired, however, when they found that the realms only inhabited species 8472 to be resistant to assimilation. This ignited a war between the two powers in which the USS Voyager was drawn, attempting to cross Borg space. 7 of 9 was able to modify Voyager's navigational deflector to emit a resonant graviton beam to open a singularity to fluidic space where the crew was able to halt species 8472's invasion with a series of biomolecular warheads, the very best kind of warhead.
Yes. Now, could we make a biomolecular tricobalt device?
Sure, why not?
That would be awesome and devastating. Actually, didn't Seven want to use them? Because at first she was like, "You have access." We were thinking of like something like gigaton weapon or whatever, and she's like, Janeway was like, "Well, that would destroy a planet or something like that, or that would destroy a whole sector of space." And Seven's like, "Yeah."
And
We were thinking something smaller scale. No, biomolecular. I would have liked when I heard stuff about biomolecular warheads, or in Chain of Command, the trap that was set for Picard dealing with the metagenic weapon.
Yeah.
Like anything, I would have been interested to learn kind of more about stuff like that. Although I know it was banned by the Federation. I think I would have liked that. The Traveler. That's a good one.
He was in 2 episodes, right?
I want to know what the Traveler was, says Iluin. I guess the Star Trek's version of a Time Lord? I don't know.
kinda, yeah.
He was from Tau Alpha C, right?
Yeah. But we don't know about Tau Alpha C, really.
Or how he has the ability to like.
We know it's not close.
No.
Wherever it is, it's a far away.
And he says that not everybody on his planet can do what he does. They do think, like, everybody does different things. Like, he can do time and space, and other people can on his planet. Like, it's not, they're not a planet of travelers, as I guess what I'm trying to say.
What I loved about the Traveler was that their abilities were based just on the way that they thought.
Mm-hmm.
It was all about their the way that they encountered the universe, basically. Their abilities based on perception of time, space, and thought, and it gave them an extraordinarily different take on reality, in my opinion, and that made them very intriguing.
I thought it was a really cool story idea that they came up with.
So eventually got rid of Wesley.
For both stories, the Remember Me story and the Where None Have Gone Before story.
Yep.
Both fantastic ideas. And the guy who played the Traveler, I think his name is Eric Menick. And he did a great job, as just being like playing that kind of mysterious kind of person. He very like in the Where None Have Gone Before, where he's talking to Wesley just before the first huge jump happens, and he's like, Wesley says something about time and space not being as linear or whatever as people think it is, and that what on earth are you talking about, like that oh shit, he's figured it out, I better quell that. That was very well acted. I think that the Traveler was a pretty cool idea. I think.
Just a note about Tau Alpha C. It doesn't exist, and that's actually unusual in Trek. Most places that they visit
Yeah.
are places that exist. They actually are places. Like Wolf 359
Yeah.
is actually a real dwarf star.
It is.
It really is. It absolutely is.
In the constellation of Leo.
Gamma Eridon, when they go back, when they in Redemption, when they say go back to Gamma Eridon, or that whatever that is, that's a star.
Yeah. So when they say that they're going to go places and do stuff, they actually talk about real places that are around. It's unusual for them to come up with a place that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's like obviously like 3 galaxies away. Somehow they've managed to go 3 galaxies away from where we are. Well, then all bets are off.
Yeah.
Wolf 359 is really close. Says, "Oh, hi, Harry. Harry is in chat."
Yeah,
Hello,
he said the same thing I said.
The traveler took Wesley away.
Yeah, it took Wesley away. That was the best part.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it was a cool character, great actor. That was
LaCanta was his name, the guy, right?
No, Eric Menyuk, I believe, was the actor's name.
No, I was talking about the guy who interacted with Wesley. LaCanta.
Oh, the native.
The Native
guy?
American guy. Yeah.
I can't remember his
He
name.
didn't really exist though, right? Because he was a traveler.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
He was actually the other traveler. There were actually 2 travelers, and I think he was considered to be a traveler according to lore. But I'm not positive about that.
I wonder if and how. I think Elwin mentions it. Wouldn't the Q take some interest into this species that was like hyper in tune with the galaxy, could use their minds to effect change as opposed to technology?
I would have been interested to see if the Q, like, I would have been interested in a story about the Q, or at least John Delancey's Q, taking an interest in the travelers.
Well, it's obvious the Q know about the Borg because he actually says, "Don't go after leave the Borg alone."
Don't antagonize the Borg.
If the Continuance told you once, it's told you 100 times.
So you got to imagine he knows who the traveler is.
Yeah.
And what their species does. So,
yeah.
I mean, aren't they probably the closest thing to the Q? Would be somebody
say.
who can use their thoughts to change reality.
Absolutely.
It seems that way. Yeah.
That's what makes them so intriguing. They could change things just with their minds.
And they seem a lot more benevolent than the Q. Like, the Q seems a lot more malevolent. Like, towards humans.
You don't care. They just don't care.
It's not that he has another agenda. He has no agenda.
Yeah.
No agenda at all.
None at all. Yeah, I'm bored to death.
He is Loki.
Fuck with these guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's kind of his
Loki.
deal.
Like the Traveler.
Yeah, he is Loki. Great call.
The Traveler, when he was in Where None Have Gone Before, when he accidentally pulls them basically to the edge of the universe. He's like, I'm really sorry. Like, he's genuinely distraught that he has done this, because he's like, you guys weren't supposed to be here for like
your far distant future, I think is the term he used.
Yeah. And he's like, I my intention was not to cause any harm. My intent, like, all that, like, he was genuinely upset that he had caused so much havoc on board the Enterprise. Q was just like, nah, fuck it.
Yeah, exactly.
Harry said Trelane was much closer to Q.
How people say Trelane was Q.
I would say so. I would say Trelane was like a adolescent Q.
Yeah.
I really think he was. And isn't there some lore that actually says that he was a proto Q? Or like I could be wrong, but I've heard
Well-
the theory that Trelane was.
The Wikipedia talks about it. I can read a quick paragraph here. It says Trelane, who first appeared in the original Star Trek episode "The Squire of Gothos," is revealed to be a member of the Q Continuum in the book Q Squared by Peter David, which is canon.
Okay.
Oh, Peter
Interesting.
David.
I need to start reading some of those books.
This relates to the original series episode Where No Man Has Gone Before. So, yeah, they're considering the book to be canon, and the book says he was. So
Okay.
that's probably where you heard that from.
Okay.
You know, the way Spock suggested, referring to Trelane is like pure mentality, force of intellect, embodied energy, super being, and then Kirk says, God of War. Which Spock found to be unfitting, before settling on a small boy and a very naughty one at that.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Kirk was always, because Spock was always so reticent, and then Kirk is just like, no! It's this extreme thing!
Yeah, exactly. God of War!
I love that. I love that dynamic between Spock and Kirk.
The tension between the two of them in terms of their personalities was one of the things that made TOS real special.
Yep.
And
I agree.
That was a problem for me with Jean-Luc at first. I had to get used to Jean-Luc because I was looking for Kirk too. And Jean-Luc is many things, but he's not Kirk too.
He's definitely not Kirk, no.
Yeah.
Kirk is definitely more of the, like, he definitely commands respect, and he definitely demands that you perform your duty. But he's a guy you could have a drink with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and he's also more impulsive, more emotional than Picard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Picard's
they're
the
based
statesman.
they're based on two different ideals. Kirk is the lone cowboy who has a couple of drinks with his cohorts from, Tombstone at the bar, where Picard is the scholar and the diplomat, who has a right-hand man. There are two different perspectives of command. That's why I was getting arguments about this.
That's a great point, Hammer.
Me and Paul always getting arguments about this because he's a big Kirk guy and I'm a big Picard guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, but if you
don't
serve
have
under
to
each
pick
one, yeah, well, I mean, we have our preferences, but I've always said if you had to live in those two eras, where do you think you're going to die the most?
Kirk.
You're going to die with Kirk, Yes, Kirk will get you killed.
Aren't you the one that said that basically TNG, what they did was they split Kirk's personalities and
Into
embodied
two,
them
yeah.
into
Riker and Picard. Yeah.
Riker and Picard.
Welcome aboard the Enterprise. Put on this red shirt.
Well, I remember when it came out. I remember when it came out. It was like every time he would be macking on a chick, me and a friend of mine would say, "Oh, he's going to Kirk her now."
The original Shroom has a great question. Charlie from the original series, Q or not? Now, for those of you who are going, Charlie, who the fuck is Charlie?
Charlie
X.
Oh, yeah.
Who the original
Charlie X
Shroom
is who you're talking
is
about.
referring to. And that was a great episode. I really liked that episode. And for it being a season 1 episode, it was fantastic. I don't know. I don't think Charlie X would be a Q.
Wow, that's a close call. I would probably have to disagree with you.
Oh,
I
yeah?
think it's a very good chance that he was in an early Q, yeah.
You think?
Back when the Continuum was a little bit less available.
You think Charlie might have been a...
He was a young Q.
If he was a young Q, why was he marooned on that planet?
Well, we know that the Q Continuum can be very callous.
Yeah.
Look what they did to Amanda's parents because
Why
they
was-
chose to...
Why was Trelane on that planet?
Well, he
Yeah.
was playing. His parents were like, Trelane, come home. And
No Trelane. No Trelane.
And say what you would about the other Q, at least John Delancey's Q, he sort of stewarded humanity. He was a protector of humanity while still, fucking with people.
mm-hmm.
Like his goal, his methods were to mess with them and have some fun with them, but the end goal was to
Teach them something.
make them stronger, kind of like,
I can see a lot of similarities between John Delancey's Q's son and Charlie X.
Yes.
yeah.
I'm drawing a lot of parallels there.
Charlie was a bit more malevolent, though, I think.
He was immature.
He was immature. I mean, he was, if I remember correctly, at one point he asked if one of the yeomen walking around was a girl.
Yeah, Rand wasn't he? Doesn't he say that to
Yeoman
Rand?
Rand? That's what it was.
Yeah,
Yeoman
Yeoman
Rand.
Rand.
Stops
That's
Kirk and
exactly
says, "Is that a girl?"
right. Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
You mean Homan ran?
Kirk should have looked at him with a leer and said, "No, that's a woman."
Yeah, exactly. No, but yeah, John Q2 or Q Junior, definitely. I could see the similarities between Charlie and Q Junior, especially when he goes and starts a Raven engineering.
If you look at the snap that Q does to change things, and you say, okay, well, putting your head down and putting your eyes up in your head is his version of that.
Yeah,
Gets real close.
that's true.
Anyway,
So there you go. But it's interesting how no matter what, and this is the interesting thing about the stream, it's getting toward the end of the stream, and I just wanted to bring this up. We always have these great ideas about what we're going to talk about on the stream.
I have an idea for our next one too.
Well, and we stay to that idea for about 15 to 20 minutes.
Yep.
And then we just start talking usually about personalities.
Yeah.
Most often about personalities, occasionally some tech, occasionally some battle stuff, occasionally some, alien stuff. But mostly what we talk about on the stream are the personalities of the people in Trek. And if you want to know, the technology was amazing. It was fantastic. But the strength of these shows were in their human interactions. That's why we're drawn to that, I think.
I think they did a great job of balancing humanity and exploring other cultures that they made up and showing
Or brilliantly imaginative.
And also showing that we can find common ground with most people, like most species that we meet. Like, yes, there are going to be some outliers.
But even some of the most like alien species, we can kind of coexist.
That's a great point, Skep. I have a book that's called "Everything I Learned in Life I Learned from Star Trek."
Yes, yep. I've seen that book.
He points out that there's the episode where Kirk becomes a Romulan, or no, it's the one where Kirk gets killed by Spock, and Spock's trying to turn over the ship. At the end, saying, "Oh, I'm gonna, admit my guilt, and they're gonna have to have someone else come out and take care of the ship." And Kirk shows up, and Spock, obviously does the emotional response. And after all that passes, McCoy tries to peg him with it, and he says, "You can't tell me that you didn't have an emotional response." And of course, Spock denies it.
Yeah.
And the last word from McCoy is "in a pig's eye," and and
I remember that.
The Vulcan or Spock and Kirk are standing there, and Spock goes to say something, and Kirk interrupts him because he doesn't want to see these two get into an argument that could go the wrong way. And he interrupts Spock and he says, "Come on, Spock, let's go mind the store," and they walk out. He breaks up the potential fight that never happens. That just goes to show you that he wants his friends to continue to be friends. And that's one of those little things. If you don't watch the show and watch the dynamics of what's happening, you don't pick up on what's going on there. But that was written very well. That he interrupts him at just the right point about just what was said at just the right way to keep peace. So I think Skep makes an excellent point that the interaction between the people, especially in the original series, how the three interact with each other, it really is the key to the entire show.
I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
For sure. Thank you for the $10 donation. My Streamlabs app is being a jerk, so I am unable to
I hear that all the time.
see who it was. I don't want to dox you because PayPal
It
gave
was-
me your name.
It says in
So
the stream it was Harry.
it was Harry.
The
Okay.
Harry channel.
Thank you, Harry.
Hey, this guy over
Hey,
here.
this guy. So yeah, it's I love the interactions between like the different character from series to series. There's always a set or like a specific group of characters that just really plays well off of each other, and they did a great job of keeping that same feeling through each series, I think.
Whether it's interhuman or interspecies, there's always some new dynamic, something interesting that sort of piques your attention, gets you interested, and
Yeah.
still plays off that overarching theme between the different episodes, like you were saying.
Exactly.
That's one of the most interesting draws to Trek.
So Hammer, what was your idea for next week's stream?
How about all the screw ups throughout the series? All
Oh.
the things that they got wrong.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because
I
I,
like
have a
that
whole bunch
idea.
of them that I've been
Oh.
saving up.
All the things that they got wrong. Are you talking about continuity errors
Yes.
in the show?
Yeah, continuity.
Oh
stuff
my
like
God!
that.
There's
Like,
thousands of them.
Right. So we shouldn't
people
have any.
changing shirts in the same shot. There's
You
lots of
shouldn't.
them. Really.
We shouldn't have any problems
No, we
with
should
crossing
not.
over.
Like Jidan.
That's
Trolls used to
a
be
good idea,
very
Hammer.
different.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's very cool. Be some cool
Yeah,
research.
there's enough to
there.
do quite a few shows if you think about it. But
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, it might be more than one.
I used to have the Nitpicker's Guide just for TNG, and that was even thicker than the tech manuals.
Yeah. The thing is, it's not going to change our personalities. So, to me, it just means that that's the canvas upon which we're going to talk about personalities again next week.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Oh my goodness. All right, guys, is there anything tonight at 11:30 go watch The Minions of the Zoo, and Harry will be the keeper, and Mr. Skep and Mr. Functional will be there.
Yeah.
That's us.
And Hammer, you have started being on Wednesdays, correct?
yes, I've taken over the Wednesday show, and Sanguine has moved to Fridays.
Okay.
And
We had a
also
good time
have
on Sanguine Show last night, by the way.
Hmm.
Y'all should
we
check
also
that out.
have a new Thursday host as well.
That's right, Johnny Hellcat.
Johnny Hillcat has taken over the reins for the Thursday show. So for the first time in at least 2 years, we have a full set of hosts for every night of the week.
All
Yeah,
right.
since Adam left. Yeah.
I am very happy.
You
That's
should be
awesome.
happy. And you've done a great job, Hammer. Well done.
Thank you.
And Irate, who are you interviewing tomorrow?
Okay. If you're a fan of AP, you know about Adrasty and all that garbage.
Oh God, oh God, oh God.
But all right,
Drama intensifies.
the diamond in this turd pile is her aunt Kathy. She's a Southern belle from Georgia who lives in Georgia right now, but she's a Southern girl, man, and she's a hoot, and I think we're gonna have a great time.
Oh my God, you got Adrastia's aunt?
Yeah.
All right, that's brilliant. I think that's going to work brilliantly.
amazing,
Oh
dude.
no, I heard her on Twitch with Virgie, man, and she was just cracking me up.
That
It's
is
good stuff.
amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, and Virgie hooked me up, man. It's a great guy.
That's
And what
great.
time? What time is that? Irate?
5 Eastern, 4 Central, and 2 Pacific.
That's
and are
right.
you doing accelerated deconstruction tonight?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that's at 9, right?
Always CRT type shit related. So, and Aiden Paladin may join us tonight.
Oh, cool.
Oh, awesome.
And that's at
she's
what time?
amazing.
9 Eastern?
Yeah, 9 Eastern, 8
Okay.
Central, and 6 Pacific.
6. Awesome. And I am going to be doing my Beat the Blind Girl tonight because I felt like garbage last night, so I didn't stream. So I'll be on Twitch later tonight after the boys go to bed. So
What time?
Probably 10:30.
Okay.
Hey, take a quick note to what Shroom says in chat. I'd like to know each of you would pick to crew a ship having to use at least one person from each series up through Enterprise, and why.
Well,
Ooh.
that immediately boils down to who's your captain. Yeah, this is a who's your
Hold on
captain.
now. Hold on. I could crew at the Baber Prize with nothing but hot chicks on it.
Yeah.
I mean,
You got-
it'll start with your captain, but he's saying your whole
Janeway,
crew.
yeah, the whole crew, Hoshi, all them babes.
My
Yeah, dude.
crew would be Picard as captain.
Well, we don't have time to go through it now. We only have 7 minutes.
Yeah, we'll do it next week.
Yeah, let's start the stream off.
Everybody,
next week.
everybody,
Take a note.
come prepared to the stream with your crew ready to go.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Will
boy.
do.
Yeah.
All right, guys. You guys have a fantastic evening, and thank you to my panel for joining us. And of course, catch me on Twitch tonight and on the coffee stream on Monday afternoon. I will see everybody then. Have a fantastic rest of your Saturday. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
True.
Sorry for the cough.